Joining me now is Sourabh Gupta. He is an Asia-Pacific International Relations Specialist with the Institute for China-America Studies. And why does China view THAAD as such a threat, do you think?
I think there are significantly good reasons why it views THAAD to be such a threat. The two main reasons. One is about THAAD's radar coverage. It takes nothing to switch it on to an upgraded radar coverage, which should have coverage deep into China and be able to look in. And that degrades their nuclear deterrent and strategic stability. But I would posit the most important reason is China just does not like countries to get together in an integrated formation and encircle it. It's not terribly happy working against alliances, but so long as they remain bilateral and maybe trilateral, it manages it. But the THAAD radar could be part of a burgeoning integrated missile defense system for the Asia-Pacific down the line, and that connotes a something very different in the mind of the Chinese.
You say in the mind of the Chinese, and it's interesting again in the mind of other leaders how they view things. Yeah. Clearly, the DPRK, we've seen these joint military exercises. They see it, one would think, as a provocation. This is when we see a lot of these missile launches. One would think this step would also be seen as a provocation. Talk to me about or how do you de-escalate the situation? Obviously, this can provide an escalation in tensions, not just between the ROK and the DPRK, Russia, China also weighing in. It doesn't make the situation easier to kind of settle in a way, does it?
No, not at all. And there are really not many drivers enabling a de-escalation of the situation for the next couple of months, unfortunately, or at least for the next couple of weeks. You have the military exercises happening. We are going to have a new South Korean president who, after 8 years, is definitely going to be from the left and takes a different view of THAAD and generally on the outreach to North Korea. So there has been a certain haste on the side of the allies to get THAAD out there. And maybe there's also just the slight hope somewhere that Kim Jong-un might do a rash or unpredictable move, which might then invite retaliation. But obviously, this is a very dangerous situation and can escalate very quickly. So they're not certainly hoping for that, but these things could happen.
So why does the U.S. insist on THAAD, given what you're just saying?
The U.S. has operational grounds why it wants THAAD out there. The reason is, initially, whatever would be launched from North Korea would, even if it went in a ballistic trajectory, could have been intercepted, say, by a Patriot or by whatever the Koreans have, the South Koreans have. But the North Koreans, DPRK has perfected, it seems, rockets of going to a much greater distance. And what they could do is actually shoot this up on a ballistic trajectory, which is much more finer, and actually land it in South Korea. And currently THAAD is the only possible intercept for terminal stage exo-atmospheric intercept. And therefore, THAAD has an operational logic. These are US bases based in South Korea which need to be defended. But a way around this could be the South Koreans are hosting THAAD. The South Koreans need to find a way to give verifiable guarantees to the Chinese that the radar network will not be upgraded and that at some day in the future, THAAD will not be part of an integrated missile defense system, but will be removed from the peninsula.
Just quickly, we don't have much time. Sure. How should China respond?
China needs to respond coolly. It has obviously taken the measures that it has taken, economic measures against South Korea, and made it very clear for a very long time what its view is on THAAD. But that said, China also needs to find a way to be that enabling factor. It can bring people at the table so that they can de-escalate the situation down the line, and we can look forward to some form of a verifiable freeze. There's not going to be denuclearization at this point in time. That's not for the time being. But we need to de-escalate, and there needs to be some sort of freeze in missile and in WMD capability.